Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of FSi DFS Fantasy Baseball Picks for the playoffs now. My host, Mega Ruler 31. Yes, we finally made it to the playoffs, and I know you played the whole season and you still got like, what, 7 games to go for your Ironman. So let's get you some content. Just a reminder that if you want to sign up for FSi DFS, Major League Baseball through the playoffs is going to be free. So if we don't have a video out, you'll still be able to get information. Today we have the full sheet filled out for you, pending lineups, of course. We're still waiting on that. But if you want to get into FSI, then just go to the description of the video, and there's a link to our website to sign up for the free package. Also, NHL free preseason is still free for about another week. I think it starts on like the 9th or 10th. The regular season, McKinley's working on that real hard. Contests haven't been great, but the results have been, and we've got football and soccer going on also, and still NASCAR. So got those things going for you. So again, go to the description of the video. You can sign up for all those things. So let's get back to baseball here. So 4 games today. Should be fun, should be exciting. And then I found out that the weather in Minnesota looks terrible. So hopefully they'll be able to get the game in. I don't know. It could be kind of goofy, which is terrible because the top catch pitcher is probably going to be Gossman, especially against Minnesota, who's got such a high strikeout rate. And Pablo Lopez is a really strong pitcher against right-handed bats too. And Minnesota bats tend to be cheap, and they're getting back to full strength there too. So I don't know what's going to happen in that game. So we'll have to stay tuned. The nice thing is it's a 4 o'clock game, so we should have an indication maybe but what to do. And then there's 2 games to pivot. I mean, I guess if things lock, you're kind of stuck, but it's close enough to the lock that we should maybe have an indication if it's going to be delayed or not, and if you want to push off. So I'm going to give the cores towards the end of the video. I'll give you Minnesota game fade core for cash, and then one if the game looks okay to play. So starting with the games here, let's look at the matchups. So first game we have is going to be the Texas Rangers and the Tampa Bay. And if you're looking at the screen and you're really confused and you're reading ahead here, let me just get to this first. I have the pitchers, the cash ones, and then the medium one should be more of a GPP. So let me just change that tag there. And you see like 2 columns of BP. This is why. Don't know if you're going to necessarily need this today, but if this is the only chance we do a video during the postseason, I just want to make this point that in showdowns and in some GPPs, there have been times over the last couple of seasons where I've seen some winning lineups have relief pitchers in them, because they're usually only cheap. Sometimes they're only like 4K or minimum price in showdown, or even minimum price in classic. But I don't understand like why everybody thinks that they need the closer, because in baseball, it really doesn't make sense how the closer is going to end up with the win. I mean, maybe they come out and strike out the side and that gets enough points, but you don't get a point for the save. And the only way the closer is going to get a win is if they screw things up, because it would be that they came in like the top of the 8th and the game got tied up, and then the team pulled ahead and they're still the pitcher of record because and then the team comes away at the top or the bottom and ends up winning the game. Or if they come out to try to save it and they blow the save and then the team wins it in the bottom, but then you're giving up obviously hits and runs and stuff. So you're kind of negating the goodness of trying to play the closer. So what I'm looking at is more the setup, man. And I have them ranked in the order, starting in this column here and then going down this column here, in how the spreads for the games are. So if the game plays, Minnesota and Hicks are probably and even with the weather too, if the starters get pulled, if there's in-game delay and the starters don't get to go and the game's is close, then these are the 2 setup men that don't have like bullpen by committee like closers that could go out there and it'd be some like guys after them. These are the 2 that potentially have the best chance of getting the win if the game is if the team pulls ahead in 8th and they're the pitcher of the record, and then or the top of the 9th, and then the closer comes in. The next best bets would be the Tampa Bay and Texas one. Stevenson Texas is kind of a mess with they have Smith, they have Chapman, and then they have Leclerc. And Leclerc looks like the one that's going to get the save because Smith and Chapman have been not good. Smith usually comes in when they have a lead, so I think that he'd be kind of the hold guy. I think he's probably the best bet there. And Chapman, I don't know, he's just has like a 6 ERA in the last month, just hasn't been sharp. On the other side of it, Philly and Miami would be the next group. Philly's kind of got a whole thing too with Kimbrel and I forget who the other guy is for. So they've got two like options for closers there too. But Dominguez seems to be the setup guy, and Puck is definitely the one for Florida. And then if you want the further spread, it's going to be Milwaukee and Arizona, and Pampers and Ginkel would be the ones to look at there. So now back to the regular lineups of it. Texas and Tampa Bay here, Montgomery and Glasnow. There, Montgomery's been strong, but there's a lot of good right-handed power here against him for Tampa Bay. Glasnow has been really strong also. I think both of them are GPP plays here because both offenses can definitely really take off. They're probably behind the chalk cash build of Philly and Milwaukee, my two top secondary favorite lineups. I kind of lean definitely Tampa Bay over Texas, just with the righties having nice matchups. So looking, the Texas line is out right now, and it's pretty much your similar one. You get a nice little savings with Grossman batting third here at 3-2. For bats, I'd probably stick with the lefties. So you can do a nice stack of Seager, who's kind of expensive, Grossman, Lowe, Heim, Tavares, and just skip over Garcia there, and they all have like the splits. Evan Carter, like 2 at the bottom of the order at 4-2. I know his prices come up, but he is just an amazing rookie with a lot of power and speed. So if you want to do a little wraparound, want to go like 9-2-3-5-6 or something like that, that works great too. Tampa Bay, let's see, did they come out with all right-handed lineup? They did, and Jose Siri's back there, and Pinto's catching. I thought it'd be Bethancourt for sure. I guess any of them here, Diaz, Rosarena, Harold Ramirez, pitch hit Ricks here, but kind of cheap at 3-7. Paredes and Mead in the 5th spot's not bad. Even Margot moving up to the 6th spot or Walls. I mean, there's a nice little, if you can't get up to like Diaz, there's a nice little cheap range there that you can go. Even just like Rosarena's not bad at 5-5, and then Ramirez, Paredes, Mead, and Margot, or even throw a Wall in there, however you want to build it. I mean, there's just so many places to go with Tampa Bay. It's a really good spot, mix and match there. Okay, so the potential rain game here. We have Toronto and Minnesota, and Gossman and Pablo Lopez. I think both pitchers are definitely play. Gossman's probably top pitcher on the slate here. Minnesota has such a high strikeout rate. I know they have some power potentially, but even if he gives up like 1 or 2 home runs, I think he's able to get like massive strikeouts here and do very well. Lopez on the other side has really shut down righties. The lefties, besides Belt, Biggio doesn't scare me too much anymore. Kiermaier is more of a contact hitter. And Varsho, ever since he left Arizona, just hasn't been the guy that you think. I mean, it looks like they're going to kind of rotate like lefty righty throughout the lineup. So both pitchers in play. Bats, I think, are more GPP. Toronto is definitely probably one of the top ones because I don't like the Minnesota bullpen as much as I like some of the other bullpens here behind them. Minnesota is probably going to be like the biggest leverage one because Gossman is probably gonna be the chalk pitcher for everybody if the weather holds up. So definitely look at the lefties. Julian, Polanco, if he's back here, Kepler, Kirilloff is usually cheap at 3-2. Even Wallner, if he cracks the lineup, has had a pretty good rookie season. Next up, we have Arizona and Milwaukee, Brandon Pfaadt and Corbin Burns. I was like questioning why Pfaadt, like the rookie, gets game 1, but then I realized that Woodruff is out for Milwaukee. So here's my theory. They mail in game 1, and then they have Galen, and they have like their other really good like aces, like number 1 and number 2 pitchers ready to go in game 2 and 3, where Milwaukee just has Burns, and now with Woodruff off, it kind of falls off with the quality of pitching they have. So they figure if they're probably going to lose one game, it's going to be game one against Burns. So again, this is just my theory. I haven't read it or anything. I'm just like trying to read the tea leaves. So Arizona, I think, figures that game 2 and 3 are definitely more winnable. So let's throw our good pitchers out there. But we'll see how Fedot does. I think he's definitely in play in cash if but who knows how deep these pitchers go. Burns, I think, could go very deep because, again, with the two pitchers that they have probably lined up for the rest of the series, they're not as good. Burns is their ace, and Burns really needs the win here. They kind of want to probably rest the bullpen in case they're going to need him in game 2 and game 3. So, and Burns is not uncommon for him to go like high 90s, even 100 pitches here. I know Arizona's a low strikeout team, but they really cooled off a lot towards the second half of the season. Even like Carroll that hasn't, like, he was hitting home runs early in the season. Really, it doesn't have as much anymore. The bottom of the lineup with Morel, Peterson, and Perdermo, since he stopped leading off, isn't super scary. So, I think both pitchers are definitely in play here. Burns, I think, could go more GPP, and Fedot, like I said, with the savings, I think is okay in cash if you want to play up with bats. I think most people will go Gossman, Wheeler, but Fedot's definitely in play there. So bat wise, Arizona, I think, is definitely GPP contrarian here. And I'd probably stick with Carroll, Marte, Walker. Actually, Corbin Burns has been kind of reverse splits with power, so I think Christian Walker's in a great play. It'd probably be very low owned with the other first baseman that people are probably going to pick. They're probably going to look at Santana from Milwaukee here, or probably Bryce Harper if they're stacking Phillies, or Diaz. So probably low ownership. That could be like a really nice play for you there. Milwaukee side of it, I don't really always trust Yelich, but I think he's got to be in play here. Contreras, Santana's switch hitter there, kind of has been hitting like Sale Frelick. I hope he hits up in like the 5th spot. Adames has hit well in the postseason. Trang, I've liked him all year as a cheap punt. He's got speed and power. Donaldson probably down the bottom lineup. I don't like it, but the other thing is Garrett Mitchell, who was on fire early on his rookie season, that got injured, now back and seems healthy. If he hits like halfway up the lineup, or even as a wraparound, as cheap left-handed bat there, I like him a lot too for your stacks. Final game, Marlins in Philly. So Luzardo, it's a good pitcher, but not in this matchup against the Philly. I think they're just locked in like last year. You got the wind blowing out, 74 degrees, good hitting conditions. And Zach Wheeler, I think, is definitely, I know the Marlins have a couple lefty bats with power like Jazz, and maybe Jesus Sanchez, but other than that, I think he's just going to cruise into victory here. So Miami bats are probably behind Minnesota as like the second least likely stack that I'd use. Definitely GPP-ish. You're gonna try to go lefty hunting here. So Rays should be back, but he's more of a contact guy that's a couple of years ago was close to hitting 400, but doesn't do it with power. He's just a good contact to get on. So not bad as table setter there. Soler has power, but righty and righty, not too keen. Bell, I think's okay. Jazz is okay. Berger, I'd probably skip righty on righty. De La Cruz, like I said, Sanchez down there if you need a cheap outfielder at 33. For the Philly side of it, definitely love the righties here. So Turner, if he's okay and in the lineup, the nice thing is if you put Turner, it's close enough to the Milwaukee lock that you can probably, if he's ruled out, switch over and put Adames in that spot. And then pay up someplace else. So just make sure you have multiple guys that you can flex there. Bomb is one of my favorite plays here. Harper lefty and lefty is fine. Real Muto. Castellanos has had a really good season hitting lefties. So like him, Rojas and Pache could be cheap fill-ins here. Pache, especially if he hits the lineup. Like, this guy was such a high prospect when he came up with the Braves, then got kicked out to the A's in a trade, I believe, and then now ended up on the Phillies here. But like, I think if all that we thought was true a couple years ago about him comes, and maybe the playoffs is his time to shine, like 2-1, like it's a really cheap guy that has like, I don't mind him as a punt. If you need some value here, he's only 2-1, doesn't really need to do much to hit value. But if he does get a hold of one and hits a home run or like steals a base or something, then that could like be, if he's there with low ownership, that could be a huge advantage to you. So keep that in mind. So let's look at how we built, and we'll get you on your way for your day. So, like I said, I'm going to take Osman Wheeler. I think most people will take that combination. If it's going to rain, then go Wheeler for that. So I'm going to mix in Milwaukee here, but I'm obviously not going to pay Milwaukee in my cash rain fade line because they're going to be up against a pitcher. So first base, just decide if you want to go Harper, if you want to go down to Santana, if you want to go down to Brandon Belt, if you don't think it's gonna rain there, if you want to take him as a one-off, I'm fine there too. Second base, I think, Terang for Milwaukee, I like here. If it's not in the non-rain lineup too, Biggio, if he's in, is like 2.8 as a one-off is fine also. But Bombs definitely go in there. I can't really in this Gausman Wheeler one get up to Turner, but so Adames is safe there. But if you can, that's fine, especially maybe if you play Pashi as your final outfielder there. Cassiano, Frelick, Yelich, whoever fits there. For the non-rain one, give me Evan Carter. I'll take a shot on him as cheap outfielder there. And then I'm probably just going to fill in one-offs from the Tampa Bay Texas game in my rain fade line. FanDuel, kind of the same concept. Give me the Phillies and give me Milwaukee. Can go full 4-4 stacks there with Gausman. If you don't like Gausman, take Wheeler. And then I'm going to go still with Milwaukee and still with Philadelphia, but you'll just have to take a one-off someplace in your lineup if you're playing Wheeler. For GPP, give me Glasnow. I might go Fadat again as the cheap SP, but off this two there, I'll just have to see how much I have left here. But give me Arizona and give me Tampa Bay for my stack. And the same thing, give me Lopez. If the weather doesn't hold up, then for that one, for GPP, I might go Wheeler. I don't think I'll go all the way down to Fadat for that. I'll probably go Glasnow. And then take a one-off, or I can't take Burns because that'd be against. So I think if I can't play Lopez, and in FanDuel, just keep in mind you can switch out if the game does get rained out. You're perfectly fine. So with that one for GPP, I'm probably looking at like Glasnow over Lopez, and then I'll just have to take a one-off and build Tampa Bay and Arizona. This is what I got for you. So if you have any questions, as always, you can put them in the chat below. Hit me up at MegaRoar31 on X, formerly Twitter. I'll explain to you how to get into FSi in the description of the video if you want to do that. And if this video helps you, as always, like the video, subscribe to our channel so you know when videos like this are coming out, and share with your friends. So good luck in your contests. I'm looking for an amazing postseason to start today, and good luck in the whole postseason. Like I said, we got like I think 7 more before we hit the Iron Man, and hopefully you continue to play after that, because I think it's going to be a really amazing postseason, especially when we get to the second round and some of these other teams like the Braves and the Orioles get put back, and Dodgers and Astros back in the mix. It should be pretty good. So hope you have a great Monday. Good luck in your contest again, and I'll see you next time.